Yeah, the Porsche 9, how do I say this again?
911996 generation.
911.
Okay, just put Porsche 911 inverted commas Sally.
Okay, Porsche 911 Sally. If not, I'm going to read some postal code or something. 91196. Okay, then the Big 1, 2, 3, it's Elliot, Thern, and me. I'm your host, Mira, and welcome to another episode of the SG Draft Podcast presented by the Chit Podcast Network. Now, for those of you that are tuning in via YouTube, by any sort of podcasting platform, hi again. Thank you so much for giving us a try, for giving us a listen. We're just a bunch of Singaporeans that love Yeah.
Wait. Sorry, my mother had to interrupt at the wrong time.
No, bro.
I'm keeping that into the. Speaking of cars, I'm joined by two bros that would love to take a drive down Fury Road. I'm joined by the drafting crew of Eldet and our newest member of the Chit Chatter Familia, Mr. Big Soup, Mr. Lee, Thern Yang. Thern Yang, how you doing, man?
Same old, not dead yet.
Not dead yet, lah. How do you feel being on the podcast, Thern Yang?
Okay, not bad. I mean, it's you've been asking me to do it for quite a while, so finally get the chance to talk shit about some stuff and perhaps get some opinions, lah. Not the first time I've been on a podcast, but we shall see where this leads us.
Out of everyone in the Chit Chatter, I think you know Eldet a bit because of our relationship together as friends.
Yeah.
And you know Amos slightly because Amos also went to the same school as us, correct?
Yes.
That's yeah. So mostly it's me and Thern Yang, and we go back, I think, like at least 12 years?
15 actually.
Shit, are you serious? It's been 15 years?
We met in 2010, what?
It's like 16 years old. Cannot be, right?
17 lah, bro. We met when we were 17.
What was your first impression of me as a person? Just curious.
Wow, who's this fella? Damn buffs, yeah. But the legs seem skinny. Like seriously, bro, the on top very gong, but then the legs why like chopstick like that.
To give some context, right, I've known Thern Yang for very long, and I've always known for a fact that Thern Yang, you are someone that loves cars. Like, it's your passion, right? It's like your
it is.
Like, interestingly enough, he was able to translate this passion to be something that he does for a living. So, Thern Yang, will you like give some like background on what you do as for a living?
So right now, I'm currently an independent automotive journalist. Talk about cars, I write about cars, I shoot cars. Basically giving a professional opinion about it. I'm now trying to build my personal brand. Hashtag the Big Soup. Looking forward to see what 2025 can bring for me.
Yeah. And I think also it'll be nice to have you on this podcast because I think there's an element of car stuff that all of us, we have like some general knowledge, but we're not really in depth to it, like the extent that you have, correct? Or that like we know cars, but not that well, right?
I know it to an extent, like I will know like what I like, what I dislike, right? But not to the extent where like I'll probably shoot a car or have like a car review then compare it to different cars. I
mean, I won't lie, I'm fortunate in what I do. And it's not been easy path to get here, but I'm very appreciative for the opportunities I've been given, both within the industry and outside the industry. I have some pretty generous friends. Recently, actually, this weekend, I was pushing a Porsche that had broken down along near the Orchard Road area. So it's a 1980 something Porsche 911 Turbo. Unfortunately, the battery was very weak. I think the alternator had issues, so I actually had to push it to get it to bump start. But that's beside the point. I have the video, I'll show it to you.
Turns out that you were the horsepower that needed.
Yeah, I guess so.
No, they needed your legs, because everybody was also got a Kong, so just push the legs really.
Hey, we're very happy to have you join us for this podcast and many drafts in the future. But if you looked at our thumbnail, you would know that this week our draft is going to be around movie cars.
Yay!
Yeah. If we have a car reviewer here and we don't talk about something car related, I feel it's just a wasted opportunity. Correct. Yeah. So obviously we're going to be doing a movie cars draft. Now, across the span of film history, cars have been featured in films, sometimes with movies focusing solely on the car, and then also or the car being sort of like the support to the main character. When you watch movies, right, Thern Yang, like let's say for instance, like a very random Toyota comes up. Are you subconsciously reviewing the Toyota?
Not necessarily, but I mean, if they can call it like if the model name is I know it and then they call it something completely different, in my mind I could either be, hey, hang on a minute, it's known to me as this, but are they getting it wrong? Are they perhaps, in like foreign markets, they can call something completely different? I think one very good example would be the Vezel. In Japan, it's known as the Vezel, the Honda Vezel, but when it's exported out to other countries, it's known as the HRV. Certain words for certain car models can actually be a vulgar word in other cultures. I think there was I can't remember, there was one car model that I think in Portugal or somewhere they actually had to change the name of the model because in I think their country it was the model name of the car was actually reference to human genitalia.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just leave it as that. Yeah.
Honda nuts. The Honda beanbags.
No, it wasn't Honda. It wasn't Honda, but it was another brand. It was another brand.
Okay.
Yeah, remember the brand of.
For instance, like LDAT, when you watch the car, right, like a movie with a car in the background, you don't notice it, right? You just think of it as part of the world.
I think it depends though. Like, let's say, for example, right, like if you were to watch maybe like a car-centric movie, like let's say the F series.
Family. All about family.
No. If let's say you were to look at that because it's car-centric, right, you will notice the car. But if let's say you're talking about maybe it's just there for show, like just part from moving to point A to point B, right, then probably not lah. But I will say this lah. If you watch a Korean drama, right, when they block out the name of the certain cast and the certain model, right, then it's very obvious, right? Yeah, that one is very obvious. That one I will get annoyed.
Just go and ask Maserati whether you can be
correct.
Before we go into this week's draft, we'll talk about last week's draft, which was the script songs draft. The results, the winning order was that Brandon won, Paul was second, and then LDAT was third. I gotta say, right, the voting was actually very close. You and Paul, right, your votes for second place actually tied. It's just that Paul got more second place votes, like in the next page. LDAT, why do you think the results turned out the way it did?
I think it's just more or less looking back, right? Second was actually a better position than third.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, because I had the position, I had the ability to pick either third or second. Looking back on it, right, I probably should have taken second. But I don't regret any of my picks. It's just that for Brandon's one, because of where he was, right, I think all the picks were ideal for like mainstream script listeners. Whereas me and Paul's one are a bit more towards like, if you are a huge fan of the script, you'll probably know the songs that we pick.
Yeah. Thern, do you have a favorite script song?
Yeah, If You Could See Me Now, You Ever Come Back, and For the First Time. I think Hall of Fame is like the standard, and then the Man Who Can't Be Moved. I'll be honest, I don't really listen to the script. I much prefer the fray.
Okay.
Yeah, I much prefer the fray. There is some differences yet similarities to their sound. But personally, I just prefer the fray lah. But yeah, if you're asking me about the script wise, then those would be the songs that I like.
If you want to watch that episode, we put that episode in our description below. It was a fun time, especially if you love the script now that they're coming to Singapore. You can catch up to all of the songs that you want to go and listen to. Now, we're going to talk about this week's draft. We're going to be drafting movie cars. I think we can come to agreement, right? As long as a car has been featured in the movie, it's eligible to be picked. Okay?
Yeah. What if the car is not a car in real life?
I think that's fine.
It's fine. It's still okay, right?
Yeah. It's a movie car, ma. That's the whole point of the draft, ma. It's a movie car. Yeah.
Can.
To clarify, you can pick a real life car, like the real exact model, if it's featured in a certain movie, as long as it's featured in a certain movie, because it's considered a movie car, ma, you will have to specify like, okay, what movie and then which car model lah. The second question I want to ask, right, I think this one is going to be quite a debate lah. Let's say, for instance, right, there is a movie that in the 60s, right, they had this car that's called a Skanko car, and then it's a completely like unique looking car, and then in the year 2000s, they decided to remake this movie. Now, in this 2000 movie, they have another version of the Skanko car, but it's a completely different model of a car. Can I pick different versions of the car? Or is it I pick Skanko car, then it's like no one can pick already?
If they're not exactly identical, I think it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, they're different movies, so
because I consider it like I consider it as a different movie.
I'm in consensus with you, all right. I think that it should be like, because if the design is completely different, right, then I feel that it's okay. You know what I mean?
No,
like, it's distinguishable enough lah.
Okay, but I got this question, right? What if, let's say, for example, and this has happened before, what if the car has the exact same name?
Yeah, I think it's fine. It's just that you have to specify which movie it was in.
Okay.
Yeah, just be specific.
I think it's just movie specific only. Like, doesn't bother about the car model, right?
Yeah, correct. Jin Yong was going to be on this episode. He had an advantage, but he's not here, so none of us have an advantage. So three of us have an equal share in Spin the Wheel. So for the first time, Thern Yang, you're going to be featured on our Spin the Wheel. I am red color. LDAT is green color, and Thern Yang, you are black. All right, I'm going to spin the wheel now. Oh, it is LDAT. LDAT, what position would you like?
First.
First overall goes to Eldad. Okay, next up is me. It is myself. Sorry, Thern Yang. First time you have you have to get.
No worries.
2. I'll pick number 2. So the official draft order for this week's draft will be Eldad first, myself second, and Thern Yang. You'll get back to end off the first round. All right, boys. Let's get right into the draft. All right, with the first official pick in the movie cast draft, Eldad, what are you going to be picking?
Okay, I have wanted this car for a very long time, and I think Million knows where it is, but it cannot be driven in Singapore. And the reason why I'm going to pick this particular car, right, is because it triggered a 4 movie.
Oh, okay.
It triggered 4 movies, right? And one of the line is, it's not what you did, son, it's who you did it to. I'm going to pick the 1969 Ford Mustang from John Wick.
Oh, nice! Wow.
Bro, I love this car. It's such a shame that it's not able to drive in Singapore. Thern Yang, if you don't know, right, the Ford Mustang is my dream car.
That's actually an interesting choice.
Yeah.
But this one, you must have they had quite a few engine options for the options.
It had is the one with the racing stripe and that particular look, right?
Stripe.
And it was the last few whereby the Mustang looked like a Mustang before it just went to nonsense.
Okay, unpopular opinion, but I actually am not a really big fan of Mustang. I'm more of a Camaro guy. I like the Chevrolet Camaro better. But
Bro,
that one's personal opinion.
I actually really love this car also. Actually, I put it in my top 5 because I think it just fits the character of John Wick. Like,
yes,
perfect. Like, you cannot imagine John Wick driving like a Toyota, or like it has to be a Ford, like a American muscle car. It's not actually black painted, right? It's like some
silverish grey. But actually, Eldad, I'm actually pretty glad that you said that specific 1969 Mustang, because the modern Mustangs, yeah, they're nice, they're fast, they're efficient, they're powerful whatsoever. But yeah, like you said, like it's not there's not really like a Mustang.
There's no character.
If you guys want to go look it up later, Google Ring Brothers. They are this custom car building shop from the States. They've built like a ton of all these like special American muscle cars and put their own spin on it. They've built a couple of Mustangs, and the Mustangs they've built, they look sweet, they sound sweet, and they go like stink. So, but obviously the cost of it, like you said, it's not going to be cheap, and also won't be legal in Singapore because why left-hand drive? Thanks.
Thern, correct me if I'm wrong, right? You went to the US to drive. Do you drive this car?
No, I drove a
other supercars, right?
The then new 911, sorry, the 991.1 generation of the Porsche GT3.
Oh, okay.
This was in September 2014, and that time the car had just came out. I will never forget that day for as long as I live, because I once I drove that car, I get it. I was like, oh wow, okay, I get it now. I get it why people like Porsche so much. They love Porsche, like, so on and so forth.
I'm gonna be quite honest, right, Eldad. I'm very shocked that you picked this first overall. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, Thern Yang, do you feel that way also? Like this as the first overall pick?
Not necessarily. It's actually a nice pick. That classic Americana is represented here.
All right. Next up, I'm rushing to take this pick now because I'm very shocked that this is not taken. When you think of movie cars, honestly, right? You think of the Batmobile first.
Yep.
Like, I'm very shocked that you didn't take the Batmobile. Now it's just really to which one you prefer. And because I love the Nolan movies the most, right? I'm picking the Tumbler from the Batman.
Oh yeah, that's the one. That's the one I would have taken also.
No, I was actually thinking about between this or the Mustang.
The Mustang is really because it's like a cool American car. It's like a real car that you can eventually build and drive and stuff like that, right? But I just think that in terms of unique factor of a car and how they design a car specifically for a character, out of nothing, because they have to really model it to be like, okay, it has to have gadgets, it has to have like very, very cool features and stuff like that, right? The Batmobile is often seen as the iconic like movie car in that sense.
Yes.
And it looks so menacing. Do you know what I mean? Like the way that it's like so wide, and then it's like it takes up 2 lanes, and then the wheels are so ginormous and stuff like that, which I think deviates from the previous models, which is more the style, but this one is like function and style as well. But for a lot of people, right, when they think of this Tumbler, they think of the scene where in the Dark Knight, where the Tumbler breaks down, then it sort of like breaks into the bat bike.
Yeah.
That scene where it's like yeah, it flies off and stuff like that.
It looks like the man's Batmobile. I mean, the classic one would be the long nose one. The one is more suave. This one is just like you said, go through a bloody wall.
I feel that in comparison to the other movies, right, this Batman he's meant to be intimidating. The look of the car, if you just see it roll up, right, for any of the bad guys in the movies, right, the moment you see the Tumbler roll up, right, it's like, oh, Crap, he's here.
I'm in trouble.
I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is that he can control the car without actually being inside the car.
The cool features that it has. Yeah.
True self-driving car. Eat your heart out, Elon.
Yeah. And I think also to add on, right, the car itself, you can visualize it being used in a military fashion, which is like the origins of it, right? It's like a failed military vehicle. Thern Yang, you got back-to-back picks, so you can take 2 picks. What is your first pick?
Okay, for me, Paul Walker was a big part. I like Fast and Furious. Paul Walker was a big part of my childhood growing up. And everybody likes the classic Paul Walker cars, the orange Supra, the
Okay.
Don't.
The one I like, Mitsubishi Evolution 7 from Too Fast, Too Furious. The green one with the graphics on the side. That is, I love the car. Personally, I really love the Mitsubishi Evolution.
Is it a silver one?
No, the green one.
The lime green one, correct?
Yes, and those cars were actually were supposed to go to Europe to a rally team. Mitsubishi actually rerouted it to Hollywood for the Fast and Furious production instead of giving it to the rally race team. Not a very good movie, but great cars.
Yes, I think that the most Fast and Furious fans can tell you that that's probably the worst of the whole series. Like
It's quite bad.
up there.
It's really bad.
Has to be the lead with Paul Walker. They were like,
It really was. The scene of them on the expressway. Oh my god! Never. Let's not get started on that. But let's get on. Plus, Tyrese's character, his car fits him to a T.
Yeah, fits.
Especially those chrome wheels. Good God.
So the Mitsubishi Evo 7 from Too Fast and Furious off the board. Thern Yang, what's your next pick?
Sally from the first Cars movie. The Porsche, that blue Porsche 911 996 with the pinstriping on the back. Fun fact: Porsche actually did make a real version of the car. I think with the 991 generation. I mean, a lot of the cars in that movie were representatives of real cars like Hudson, Hornet. 996 is not the most loved generation, I feel, especially because of they call it the running egg headlights. Because it looks like front egg. Yeah, they call it running egg headlights because of the way it like kind of droops and everything. They always have the very circular headlights. The 996 is the only one that had that runny egg style.
Okay, running egg, okay.
Yeah. So that's my pick, Sally from Cars.
Yeah,
it's not so much because you enjoy the character. It's just because you like the real version of this car, correct?
But it's an iconic car. I mean, that is actually a very nice car.
I remember from Cars, right, the way that she got introduced was the car came out, then Lightning McQueen went, "Holy Porsche."
Oh
yeah.
And then the part where he saw the pinstriping under her spoiler, the one he was like, "Hey, what's the little pinstriping on the back?" And when he was like, "Oh, a bit naughty, are you?" That kind of thing. Yeah.
I'm up next. I'm gonna pick. Okay, so my picks, right, are strategically very different from Thern Yang. I'm not picking cars. I'm picking like popular cars. Next up, right, I will pick the Back to the Future DMC DeLorean.
Predictable. I'm sorry.
Yes. You have to pick the predictable pick, bro. As you said, right, in terms of iconic cars, it's really up there for movies because of the fact that it's a time traveling DeLorean and stuff like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? It is known for being quite not a good car to drive, right, Thern Yang? The DMC, right?
The concept they actually wanted to put in a more powerful engine, but because the whole thing kind of just ran out of money, just spent way too much. In the end, they had to plonk in like a really shit engine, woefully underpowered, and then the car just didn't have the go to match the show. The left door, the panel is actually one of the doors. I think it's the left or the right door actually. Is rarer than the other side. So I think one door panel is worth more than the other side just because of stock availability. Because the original parts, they only made so many original parts. Now another company has taken over the rights for DMC. The original one door panel, I believe, is the left door panel, is actually worth more than the right door panel.
Universal and Emblem Entertainment, they signed an agreement with DeLorean maker John DeLorean that allowed them to use DeLorean trademarks for merchandising and commercial tie-ups for 5% revenue from the movie. So actually, the DMC DeLorean, they earn quite a fair bit from this movie lah. If someone can make an actual replica, right, they will be able to time travel. So quite cool.
Just have to get to 88 miles per hour, right?
Yeah. Correct. Gotta get it, Doc. We gotta get it 88 miles per hour.
Right,
If all else fails, right, just play Rockstar's version of this on GTA Online.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the creator of this car, John DeLorean, I think he died poor or he died a bankrupt. But he didn't die in a very he didn't die a comfortable death.
What's gonna be your next pick?
Okay, so I thought long and hard about this. I'm gonna go with probably the most iconic spy car and one of the most popular James Bonds in recent memory. It showed up in Casino Royale. I'm picking the 2011 Aston Martin DBS. The James Bond
2011
car.
Aston Martin DBS.
That was actually my third pick.
Okay, one is that the car looks sleek, but the way he pulled up to the casino driving the car, it just slots up, right? It just gets out the car nicely. I'm like,
the older Aston Martins are before like the more recent ones. The key they actually optioned it as a glass key, and it was called ECU, Emotional Control Unit.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was a glass. The key was fully glass. So if you dropped it, ooh, but
your heart will break. That's why they call it emotional control unit.
but as an object, just is incredible.
Yeah, dude. It's such a nice car to look at. Like, the moment somebody pulls up in that car, right, everybody will just stop and look at it. I don't care. It's just something about the car, right? And like, if you were to relate it to James Bond, right, captures enough attention, but doesn't pull away from everybody else too much.
This car, right, they actually, during filming, they actually destroyed a few.
Are you serious?
They destroyed, from looking at, they destroyed 3 of them.
Oh, what?
They destroyed real
I'm not surprised.
Aston Martins, yeah. It could have been, okay, they couldn't, maybe they got like pre-production cars. Like pre-production cars are cars they used to test the production line to see that everything lines up. So it couldn't be like, perhaps not the actual production Aston Martins, because that would really hurt. But still, destroying 3 of these really beautiful cars is, yeah.
After that, what is going to be a pick out there?
I'm going to go with a car that has 4 rings in one of the most, in the movie that pretty much started the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm going to go with the Audi R8 2008 Iron Man.
Yeah, this is a good one, man. This one, Audi R8. I had this also quite high up. The Thern, do you like this car? Do you like Audi R8?
Yeah. The R8, yeah, man. The car is Audi's first proper attempt at a supercar, and it was very well done.
I can still remember to this day, right? When he pulled up in the R8, right? It immediately got my attention. I was like, which car is that? Because I don't recall Audi having like a sports car at this level.
To be honest, right, I think that even to this day, it is Audi's most iconic car. I would say like to the mainstream people, right, they don't really know Audi cars except the R8. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
But unfortunately, the R8 has already ceased production. And
correct.
It's cancelled already because the engine. Reason why I think that you liked it so much is because of the engine note, the exhaust note.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that car, if you all didn't know, it's actually based on the Lamborghini Gallardo.
Yeah.
So.
Which also
became the Lamborghini Huracan. So unfortunately, that car has also been phased out already. So Audi no longer can use the platform.
Yeah, but I feel like, right, if let's say you have to compare like those 2 cars side by side, right, the Audi R8, there's something about it that just looks like smooth.
Yeah, it does.
Like, Jeremy Clarkson, when the car came out, Jeremy Clarkson praised it to them.
Because, dude, it looks smooth, and I think it's like one of the cars, right? Like, if you were to put it in like white, black, green, yellow, whichever car color, right, it will look nice one.
Plus, I think I love the fact, right, that, you know, Iron Man has his iconic like red and yellow colors, right? But because of that film, they knew that, the nicest car design color, it has to be the silver and black. Yeah, like, okay, let's not put the Iron Man touch on it, just let's stay true to the Audi colors. So it's a good pick, This Audi R8 is a great pick. It's off the board. I'm up next. Okay, I'm actually quite thankful that you picked the other Aston Martin, because
I know.
Yeah, for me, I think the most iconic Bond Aston Martin is the Aston Martin DB5, correct? Which is the yes.
Look, classic Aston Martins have they have a special place in my heart. Okay, first of all, who doesn't love Aston Martin?
Yeah, yes. Who doesn't love it?
Who doesn't love? I mean, like, everybody knows James Bond car. I mean, and the company does use it heavily in their whole marketing and everything else. Yeah. But the classic Aston Martins.
Yeah, it's just so like, damn, you look like a well-dressed
man, right?
Yeah, well-dressed man with class, and then it's like, I can imagine like you're wearing a Rolex, and then just everything just looks perfectly like suave with this that Aston Martin DB5. Yeah, but I think like, just to add on to the history of the car, right? It was initially in 1964's Goldfinger, and then it was driven by the legendary Sean Connery, which was like the first Bond. And then this is the car that was the first sort of like spy car where you had like the 3-way revolving number plate, the bulletproof tires, like the slashing spikes that came out of the car, the ejector seat and stuff like that. And I think that this is the most iconic Bond car because they put it back into a bunch of the other Bond movies after that. So it was in GoldenEye, Thunderball, Tomorrow Never Dies, Casino Royale. And I think there's a lot of the scenes where he's like driving in the mountains and stuff like with Aston Martin. Like, it was just, I love it, man. Yeah, but something I wanted to ask, right, is that Aston Martin is quite famed for like guzzling gas a lot, right? Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest, lah. You want a sports car brand, you can very well afford the petrol, lah. You want something that is very fuel efficient, get a Prius. I mean, let's be honest here, lah. If you want, you want to senor, get a hybrid, get a Prius, get a Vessel, get something that sips fuel. You want something that when you go to like a hotel or casino and then everybody looks at you, it's like, wow, this guy, I want to be him. Aston Martin.
Yeah, Aston Martin DB5 is off the board. Thern Yang, what's your next two picks? What are you going to pick?
Okay, on the topic of James Bond cars, right? Everybody knows James Bond for Aston Martins, but I like the BMW Z8.
Oh,
the
nice.
one that Pierce Brosnan drove. The Z8 is one of the most unique BMWs because the doors don't open like this. Like, the car doors, the doors slide down.
Yeah, they slide down.
I mean, yes, the car had gadgets and what else and whatever not, it was driving across the ice, not wrong.
Yeah.
But the Z8 is...
That's in which movie? Can't remember. World is Not Enough, right? I think.
Yeah, World's Not Enough.
Yeah, if I remember. The one with Holly Berry, if I'm not wrong. Yeah.
I didn't really watch the James Bond movies, but that car alone. BMW didn't make many of those, if I'm not wrong. But and those today, they go for good sums of money.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's like very expensive.
Yes, they go for good sums of money because they only make so many of them.
It's true. The only thing is that it's a BMW, so it always comes with the general problems.
That generation, I think was okay lah. The newer BMs, they do.
5 years, after 5 years, your oil leak. After your oil leak, then your petrol, then your engine got issue.
It's not a BMW if it doesn't have oil leaks, and then don't forget the blinker fluid also. Okay,
Yep.
Blinker fluid, that's why cannot signal.
Then the cost too expensive. So you have to keep topping out the stupid engine oil.
Normal. BMWs burn a lot of oil, but man, I tell you, the Z8 one.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's genuinely beautiful. I think that car was a star, not Halle Berry. That should have been the Bond girl, not Halle Berry.
Not Halle Berry.
Sorry, personal
preference. Dude, correct me if I'm wrong, right? Does BMW own Aston Martin? No, right?
No. Aston Martin is independent, but currently, right now, they are in bed with Mercedes.
Okay, yeah.
To clarify on that,
Daimler, right?
No, Daimler, like Mercedes in general. They take engines from Mercs for like the Vantage, and then I think the DB11, and then they also take Merc electronics. Because electronics are hard to develop, so if another manufacturer you're in bed with already has the systems all set up and what's not, it's just a lot easier to just let them do the hard work and then you take some. Aston Martin could come up with the shittiest infotainment system on earth, but the moment you start the car, you look at the car, it's like, I got the engine, the radio is right behind me. Why do I need this radio right here? Okay,
after your BMW Z8 pick, Thern Yang, what are you going to be taking?
Okay, I think this one is not exactly a car, but it's the Batman, the Batpod motorcycle from the Dark Knight.
Oh, wait a minute. It's not a car. I don't think.
It's not a car. I know it's not a car, but
it's a bike.
It's a bike.
You can take other like you can if you want. Yeah. Just that you can't take I don't think you can take the bike because it's a bike. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But okay. If I can't do that, then I will go for the classic JDM choice, which is the tofu ce. The tofu car from
initially.
Yeah, the manga, the film, and everything. Hey, yeah, I like that.
I wrote down the model. It's a Toyota Sprinter, right?
No, Treno.
AE86, right?
AE86, AE Palio. That one, that thing in stock form, it's woefully underpowered. But I mean, the movie is modified. It's painted the black and white paint scheme with the Fujiwara Tofu Shop wording on the door. Is there anything more iconic than a Toyota? A small Toyota drifting through the mountains of Japan with a cup of with a cup of water. Some guys in Singapore who actually have the replica of that car. Yeah. And I mean, that car, because of, desirability, it's getting more expensive. It was picked initially because it is known for its ability to drift, right? This car. It's front engine rear-wheel drive manual transmission. So that is like the golden recipe. It's a simple car, but from the factory it's very underpowered. So I need to zeng lah, I need to modify it to give it some power. But doesn't necessarily mean you need a lot of power to drive. I mean, a lot of power to slide. Speaking from experience.
Speaking from experience.
I will not go into further detail.
Not a great movie lah. It's okay. It's okay.
No.
Yeah. Iconic car. Iconic car. Yeah.
Iconic car.
All right. I'm up next. I'm gonna pick. And the first time, I think it's secondary school. Yeah, a young secondary school. And then this movie came out in the famous words of Shia LaBeouf. Bumblebee! I'm picking the Chevrolet Camaro V8.
Go.
Oh god, he yelled so much in that bloody movie. You know?
Yeah. Optimus! I'm like, okay, Shia, we get it. Yeah.
You know, I thought Megan Fox would do most of the screaming in that movie, but no, it was Shia LaBeouf was actually doing most of the screaming in it.
Megan Fox was the calm one.
Correct me if I'm not wrong, right? Yeah, but throughout the whole series, right, they did change the different versions of the Camaro. But I know that the first Chevrolet that they put in the Transformer, it was a concept car, right? It was not the actual V8, like the one that later went into production.
The old one that came out, that initially take out from the junkyard, that one was an actual production car. I think that was from from the 70s. Then when it became that iconic one that we can still see at USS today, that at that point it was still a concept car. But General Motors, which is Chevrolet's parent company, used the movie as like just a massive marketing blitz to advertise the car. And it worked. It bloody worked.
It worked.
It bloody worked, and they did it with every subsequent Transformers movie. Bumblebee was always the next iteration of what the Camaro was going to be. I won't say free advertising, but basically it's showing like all the impressionable people who are watching the movie. This is what a Camaro can be.
Yeah,
and it's like wow, that kind of thing. So yeah, I like the Camaro. It's not because of that movie, but I just always like it. Looks a bit more butch. Like it just looks a bit more like buff and a bit aggro. Personally, I just never like the way the lines of the Mustang float, but that's just personal. Personal opinion. And especially like the rear of the Mustang, I just never like how the lines of it
it's like how to say
it just doesn't flow, just doesn't look right to me. But for the Camaro
more
itself,
sharp, right? It's like more like sharp edges, then after it like goes down and stuff.
In a certain sense, yeah. But the Camaro to me always was just like just trying to like the guy who goes to the gym and just starts beating people for no reason. That's a Camaro. and then like the Mustang will be like, why are you beating people up, my friend? Stop.
This is one of the cars, right? The Chevrolet Camaro. I really feel that if it was in Singapore, it will sell well. This was like the Camaro.
Is it so in Singapore or not?
No.
It's not right.
It's not. Oh, and funnily enough, for the Camaro, the chassis development was not done by the Americans. It was done by the Australians. The car was because back when the Camaro was still around, GM had Holden, their Australian division. So they actually had the Australians develop the chassis and then they just took it and then became the Camaro. That's why the car could actually handle much better than it should have. People thought it would. Aussies know how to have fun.
Yeah. Aussies know how to have fun. This one I think also can speak for experience. It could be. Yeah, it's true. Eldad, your last two picks to end off your team after my Chevrolet Camaro. What are you going to take?
I'm going to pick an American car. It's also a Ford. But it's from one of my favorite movies, like probably ever, like one of the top 5. It's the Ford GT40. Predominantly, right, the one in Ford versus Ferrari.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Ford versus Ferrari.
The reason why I love that car is because of the way that they explain how the car was developed. So, like, for me, right, I'm very into Formula One and racing, right? So, watching how they develop the car, testing the aerodynamics, how they had arguments with everybody, right? And then leading up to developing a car that is so powerful that it could actually take down, like, Ferrari. And, like, in, like, racing, right, Ferrari is like king.
Yeah, you know why the GT40 is called the GT40?
No, why is it called the GT40?
Because the original one was only 40 inches tall.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, it's only 40 inches tall. That's why if you're too tall, you actually can't physically fit into the car. Jeremy Clarkson tried to fit into it. He couldn't. Like I think up to his forehead, up to here, the car door would actually cut into his head right there. So
correct, because I think also in the concept of like racing, right? Like you have to be like lightweight to fit inside. So the smaller you are, the better it is for overall speed and lap time. So removing excess weight, basically if you're tall, right, there's not much you can actually do.
Do you know, okay, I'm not sure if you know this, but do you know that Ford once owned Aston Martin?
This one I've heard. I've heard about it.
Ford once owned Aston Martin. Ford once owned Volvo, once owned Jaguar, once owned I think Land Rover also, and they also once owned Aston Martin. That's why like just now the car you picked, the DBS, the engine is actually derived from a Ford engine.
Oh wow.
Yes. So some people say, "Oh, you're using a Ford engine in like this kind of a fancy supercar." But I mean, the thing has been developed so much that it's no longer. I don't think it shares hardly anything with a Ford engine anymore. But at its roots, it was from a Ford engine. But yeah, but GT40 still.
Yeah, it's a beautiful car.
It's a nice car. It's really a very beautiful car.
There's a replica one in Singapore on a classic plate, and it sounds amazing and it smells beautiful. No catalytic converter, so you smell pure cancer.
Okay, what's your last pick?
Okay, you can't have a car draft without this car. He mentions family all the time. I'm picking Dominic Toretto's 1970 Dodge Charger.
Which one? From which one?
The original one. I think it was the fast one.
Yeah. The first Fast and Furious.
The Fast and the Furious. So because that's the first time you see the car all like modded out, very powerful. Then the roar of the engine, like the front of the thing is so big, right, that you only worry whether Dominic can see past the thing. Because the car is low and the thing is huge.
Right?
Yeah, it's huge, right? But like this car is like, if you talk movie cars, right, and iconic movie cars, this has to be there. Yeah, because it's
Fast and Furious series, I guess.
Is any Fast and Furious movie, right? This car will appear.
Yeah, next Fast and Furious movie, they're going to send a Charger into space.
So interesting enough, right, Tanya? How do you? So where does Charger rank among all the like Dodge, like amongst all of the muscle cars that you like, in comparison to like maybe Chevrolet and the?
If you're talking like modern cars wise, I would Camaro, Charger, Challenger, Mustang.
Okay.
Yeah, Mustang last. Charger will be second.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, Charger will be second. But unfortunately now, because of all the whole emissions thing and whatever, Dodge currently does not make a V8 Charger. It's the new one is electric. Yeah. Electric. And the best part, it makes V8 noises from a speaker.
What?
I genuinely wish I was kidding saying this, but Dodge has they put exhaust noises from a speaker, so it goes like vroom vroom, and then that kind of thing. It has not been well received.
What then? Then my thing was that if you're doing muscle car, what's the point? Because you get a muscle car for the engine sound.
There we go. And that's why if you have a muscle car, you don't have a V8.
No point.
What's the point? Buy a Dyson. It makes the same noise anyway from the vacuum cleaner.
It's the iconic one.
Car of the whole series.
Especially with that huge, that they call it, not wrong, they call it a root style supercharger. That's popping through the bonnet. It blocks like 50% of your visibility, but if you look cool, who needs 50%? Who needs 100% visibility?
Yeah, it's okay. They always drive by feel anyway, right? They just close their eyes and they're like,
No. You drive for family.
No, you drive for family, he only can see the thing, so you got no visibility because the car goes like this.
My last pick, I'm quite shocked that Thern Yang did not pick this, considering that he did pick a car from Cars, but I'm going to pick the actual car that is from Cars. Pick Lightning McQueen.
Ka-chow. Never really was a fan of Lightning McQueen. The car itself.
Yeah, the car itself, yeah. From correct me if I'm wrong, right? It's like a mishmash of a bunch of different cars, right? Yeah.
It's based on NASCAR, the then NASCAR regulations. But NASCAR, they didn't run such a huge tire. If it was actual, like the Lightning McQueen into real world dimensions, the tire I think would be like 20 or 21 inch or even perhaps
that's a bit big.
From what I understand, right, like the design of the car, it was a combination of a Chevrolet Corvette C6 with a Ford GT40, with a Dodge Viper and a Porsche 911. So they sort of like mishmashed it a bunch of it.
You can see, you can kind of see it.
Yeah, you can see like bits and pieces of it putting into like a red color race car lah. Yeah, and I think
although if you ask me, Lightning McQueen, which iteration I like of him the best, I wouldn't say his original paintwork. Remember the scene where he was found in the radiator springs and then he was in that shiny, the very glossy kind of.
Oh yeah.
That is the one that is the iteration of Lightning McQueen that I would choose. Honestly, the I have to give credit to cast. They actually research into like making it as like close
As
to
real as possible,
realism as possible. Like Doc Hudson, that car is actually called the Hudson Hornet.
Hudson Hornet, yeah.
Yeah, back in those days, actually that was actually used in NASCAR racing as well. And if you actually installed a roll cage in that car to increase stiffness, right, people will call you a chicken because the car from the factory was already so stiff. But that was in those days, lah. Honestly, if we could do a whole episode on it.
Yeah. That would be a good episode.
That would be a good episode.
Yeah, actually, that'd be a good episode.
On another.
Yeah, how accurate?
But on another, yeah.
Yeah. Can a car actually talk? Okay. Last pick, Thern Yang. What is going to be your last pick to run off your team?
My last pick. Even though I've been bashing on American cars a little bit, nothing beats Burt Reynolds and Smokey and the Bandit.
Smokey and the Bandit, nice one.
That car, the Trans Am, the screaming chicken on the front.
Yeah, Trans Am, yeah, this one.
Yeah, Trans Am. Even until today, the screaming chicken is still one of the most recognized automotive symbols out there. Yeah. And honestly, what's cooler than Burt Reynolds in a cowboy hat and a mustache coming out of that?
If you hadn't said a screaming chicken, I would have never thought the thing was a screaming chicken.
It looked like
It's actually
like a phoenix or something like that. You know,
I think it was a phoenix, but then people just call it a screaming chicken because screaming phoenix doesn't have the same ring to it.
Okay, interesting.
They actually did make a modern. There's actually a company that actually took Camaros and made it like restyled it into that whole Trans Am vibe with the screaming chicken on the front. Yeah. So underneath Camaro, but on the outside Trans Am looking. Still, Gabriel Iglesias has one, I think.
It's a good pick. Wait. Okay, I'm going to read off the teams, and then after that we can talk about some of the honorable mentions that you wish you could have drafted. All right, so for Eldad, your team is the 1969 Ford Mustang from John Wick, the Aston Martin DBS, correct? From
2011.
2011 from Casino Royale, the Audi R8 from Iron Man, the Ford GT40 from Ford versus Ferrari, and the 1970 Dodge Charger from the Fast and Furious series. For myself is the Tumbler from Batman Begins, the DeLorean from Back to the Future, Aston Martin DB5 from James Bond Goldfinger, Chevrolet Camaro V8 Bumblebee, Transformers, and then Lightning McQueen from Cars. For Thern Yang, yours is the Mitsubishi Evolution 7 from Too Fast, Too Furious. Yeah, the Porsche 9, how do I say this again?
911996 generation.
911.
Okay, just put Porsche 911 inverted commas Sally.
Okay, Porsche 911 Sally. If not, I'm going to read some postal code or something. 91196. Okay, then the BMW Z8 from The World Is Not Enough, James Bond. Then the initial D Toyota Sprinter, the
Treno.
Yeah, Toyota Treno AE86, and then the Smokey and Bandit Trans Am car. All right. Now, let's go to some honorable mentions. I think we can go from each of us. Maybe, Eldad, which cars do you wish you could have taken?
Okay, there's one car that as a kid, right, I wish this was real, right? Speed Racer, the movie.
The Mark 5. Yes, yeah, I had this also. I had this now also.
bro, like if you just move the cartoon away for a second. That movie was so cool. The way that they built up the car, the way that it was designed, the jumping ability, all the action triggers, right? Wow, dude. Like if you could drive that right without having a safety worry, right, that would be fun.
Yeah, it'd be really fun. But of course, the whole point of the car is that it can be a safety hazard.
Correct. Okay. I got two more. I think minus the Fast and the Furious one from Brian, right? I think the other one was the Maserati Gran Turismo Limitless. The one that kind of introduced Maserati like Gran Turismo to the world. Another one is a Ford Mustang. But have you watched the movie Death Race?
Yes. Oh, that one.
Yeah.
The Ford Mustang 2006, the one that Jason Statham drives as Frankenstein, right? Wow, dude. When I first saw that movie and I saw that car, I was like, that is so cool.
Yeah, it's a good car. Like, it's quite for the movie, it's quite sick lah. Like,
it's like a total different twist on a Ford Mustang that I never thought possible.
The tombstone, the armored panel at the back. Yeah,
the tombstone and the back panel, and then like the build, right? It's like you want to call muscle, this is like legit muscle.
Yeah.
The Maserati Gran Turismo, why it sounds so good, uses a Ferrari engine. Yeah, Maserati and Ferrari were sister companies.
Good honorable mentions. Thern Yang, yourself, you got any honorable mentions that you wish you could have taken?
The FC3S Red Suns RX-7, Mazda RX-7, also from Initial D. That one, I think it doesn't get enough love. I mean, it's still a popular car nonetheless, but people, when they think of initial D, they tend to think of the tofu car. What else? I mean, okay, since I couldn't mention it earlier, the bed pot motorcycle, because it's not a car, but to me it's still iconic. It's cliche, but it's a tie between Paul Walker's Supra and Toyota Supra and Mitsubishi and Nissan Skyline from the Fast and Furious movies. I mean, yes, everybody thinks about those two cars when it comes to Paul Walker.
I think the Skyline more.
Yes, because the Fast and Furious, and then also the one in Too Fast, Too Furious. The Skyline has really been associated. Yeah. Brian, Paul Walker had an immaculate taste in cars. Like the Fast Five, the scene when the two cars just split like that.
Yeah.
The white Supra was his.
Oh, his own car. Okay.
The white Supra will belong to his belong well to his estate lah.
Yeah. For myself, right. Some of the honorable mentions. I think the Batmobile, the Batman Returns one, the original Batmobile with the very long nose in front. Then it's like got the bat wings and stuff like that. That one, I think, is a cool car.
I think that one still reminds me of, like, when you say Batmobile, I kind of think of that first.
Yeah. I think for a lot of people, right, that's the first Batmobile that they think of. Like, especially if you're born before the Nolan, like if you watch the Batmans before the Nolan movies, right, this is the first one. I think also collectors, right, it's easier to put this one in their house than the Tumbler. That's why this one is more.
The
Tumbler is too big already.
The Tumbler is wide lah, but the original Batmobile is as long as a football field.
No, but the thing is that
I was gonna say, like, I can imagine it'd be so difficult to parallel park this
parallel park that thing. Walao.
It's like,
you think half of Little India? No, I think to parallel park that thing.
Yeah. Then other ones that I have considered is the Volkswagen Beetle from Herbie. Like,
God, I hate that car. I'm sorry.
I don't like it either, but I'm just thinking like it's more for the iconic factor. Mini Cooper S, the Italian job.
Oh.
Yeah. Interesting fun fact about this Mini Cooper, right? The Mini did not do any. They sold the car to the movie producers. They didn't even want to put it in the movie, They're just saying like, if you want to buy it, we'll sell it to you at production price, right? And then Fiat, the 500, right? They were like, okay, we'll give it to you for free to put in the movie. And then the director was like, no, I still want it to be the Mini Cooper lah. So yeah, stayed true. And then after that, it became the most popular sort of like Italian job car.
Fiat 500 compared to a Mini Cooper. There's a reason why Mini Coopers, they're still being produced today. It's so iconic. Whereas the Fiat 500, you pay people to take it, people still want.
The 1984 Ford Ecoline, which is the Dumb and Dumber dog van. The Scooby-Doo mystery car. There's one in Singapore, right? The Mystery Squad, that car.
Yeah, but it's a Suzuki.
Just to wrap it up, right? If you had to vote for one team besides your own team, which team would you be voting?
I'm thinking I'll vote for MIAS1.
I would vote for Aldet's one, actually, because...
Yeah, actually same.
Yeah, the Audi R8 with the Aston Martin and then the John Wick car, yeah. Alright. It was a very, very motorhead sort of episode, but that wraps up our movie cars draft. Alright, that was our movie cars draft. If you enjoyed that episode, please remember to give it a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe. We have episodes that drops every Friday. But in the same time, also, if you're into football, we have the Football Kaki with Aldet here that drops every Wednesday. And also, if you're into fun and interesting trivial topics, we have the Kopi Pro Show that drops every Monday. Now, if you want to vote for which team you think drafted the best set of movie cars, you can head over to our Instagram every Friday at 12 p.m. to go and vote. But remember that voting closes next day on Saturday at 12 p.m. So please remember to head over to our Instagram and go and vote. Right, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode and you are driving your car safely. But remember,
keep warm because there's a draft coming.
And to quote the great Doc Hudson, I knew you couldn't drive, but I didn't know you couldn't read too.